You're listening to The Bird Bath. This episode of The Bird Bath is brought to you by Pearl AI. Pearl AI is an affordable, always-on AI veterinary solution that combines AI with a team of real, licensed U.S. veterinarians. Get the best of both worlds, the speed of AI and the accuracy of human professionals. With Pearl AI, your clinic can offer real-time 24/7 coverage without hiring extra staff. It also automates screening and triage, lowers your operating costs, and turns more of your site visitors into paying clients. Integrate Pearl through a simple web snippet or API and start growing your practice while you sleep. Learn more at pearl.com/thebirdbath. That's pearl.com/thebirdbath. Welcome back to The Bird Bath, but also welcome to a very special episode. This is the Birdies, our year-end awards for the moments, moves, and trends that actually shaped veterinary medicine this year. These aren't just press releases, there's no voting committee, there's definitely not trophies, so don't come and ask me for yours, just patterns and things that we saw that really affect the way that the industry moved and changed in 2025. Some of them are wins, some are warnings, and a few can be called learning opportunities. The goal here isn't to crown heroes or villains, it's to mark the signals worth paying attention to as we head into next year. We'll keep it tight, we'll name names, and we'll move fast. Let's get to the birdies. Our first award of the evening is the top streamed story. This is the story that you all could not stop listening to. It comes to us from one of our episodes in September talking about Ellie Diagnostics' acquisition by IDEXX. This was a story that we were really lucky to be able to be right on the cusp of it happening. As news came out, the Bird Bath was right there. And this was one that a lot of people found out at the exact same time that the customers and a lot of the employees found out. Ellie was acquired by IDEXX in September of this year, and it was a acquisition and a pretty quick shutdown of the overall business operation. Since that time, Ellie's business has been basically dissolved. The employees are all gone, and IDEXX has moved all of those clients over to IDEXX contracts. The thing that's important, though, to note as well about this story was that in March, we also covered another story for Ellie, which was the new CEO joining the company. So they were paddling and paddling and paddling, and it seems like all those efforts just weren't enough to be able to get them out of the hole and made them a ripe target for IDEXX acquisition. So that was the top story that you all could not stop listening to. Hate that it's a bad one, but you know, that's what people love. Our next birdie is the big move of the year. This was one that I think reshapes a lot of the things that we see. It brought in a massive new partner into the industry. It created the largest new super group, and it was something that people were talking about for months and months. If you haven't guessed it, it is the announcement that Southern Vet Partners and Mission Vet Partners had a new name and had merged as Mission Pet Health. This was a big story. It was one that people talked about, like I said, for months and months and years, really, and really understood kind of what was going on here. The new partner that came into the fray was Silver Lake Capital, and Silver Lake really became a clinic household name from this. It's a company that and an equity group that's absolutely massive, and the more that you are used to seeing their name, the more you're going to continue seeing their name. Since doing this, they've completed an acquisition of EA, the Electronic Arts video game company. They have just this last week announced that they are going to be one of the partners in the acquisition of the US interest for TikTok. They owned the Boston Celtics prior to creating Mission Pet Health. They, alongside EQT, have shares in a massive number of veterinary clinics across the world. And so this is the big move of the year. And so far, I've heard nothing but great things about how it has been going. And I look forward to seeing what 2026 brings for this company as they blend these two businesses together. The next birdie to give out here is the corner office reset of the year. Yes, this is who brought in and shook up those executive teams. And this one was not even a question. It was so much not a question that I actually created this award while thinking about this company. NVA Ethos absolutely reimagined their entire executive suite. They brought in a new CEO, they added new people to their board, they added a new chairman to their board, they brought in COOs, they brought in president for Ethos, they brought in a massive number of people and a ton of people from outside the veterinary industry to prep, as everyone is saying, this is purely speculative, but prepping NVA and Ethos for their IPO that we can only expect now to see in 2026. They have completely reshaped the corner offices here, and it has to be an award for Corner Office Reset of the Year. Now, let's take it down a moment here, folks. No award show is complete without remembering those that we lost in this last year. 2025 was a year where we lost some great ones. We have to pour out a little bit from that water bowl for some of these companies and ideas that we lost in 2025. They're not all out of business, but some of them are going through bankruptcy and just not doing great. We've got the WAG Group, the Vets, My Pets Wellness, so many corporate practices, Ellie Diagnostics, the ban on non-competes, that one really hurt, and lots of ideas and plans for new colleges. Just to name a few, IVP was able to avoid the list, but the writing's on the wall. So, for all those that we lost in 2025, stay strong and go forward. Our next birdie has to go out to the new heavyweight of the year. That's a company from outside the space that came in and really set themselves up to shake up the way that things are done in our industry. This was one that was kind of a cool timing. I was in Kansas City right before this announcement happened. And this is the story of Amazon entering the pet prescription business. So PetRx is from Amazon. Amazon teamed up with VetSource about halfway through this year to start offering prescriptions for your pets directly on Amazon. Now, this is not something that should surprise anyone. We've seen the massive growth of companies like Chewy and not PetMeds Express, but the bullish vision that people have for PetMeds Express. But really what Chewy has done, and Amazon having the absolutely massive reach to be able to get to a lot of those clients, would make a ton of sense to be someone to enter the space. So Amazon partnered up with VetSource. VetSource is doing the fulfillment and holding those prescriptions to get things across the line for Amazon. But that's a new big time heavyweight. And so Amazon, you win the heavyweight of the year. Finally, we had to end with what I think everyone gets excited about: the Showdown of the year. Now, this was not just one single thing. This was a group, a company, a business, an association that just consistently was getting battled over and over and over again. Hits kept coming. And if you haven't guessed, this is the AVMA's COE, the Council on Education, as well as the entire accreditation and testing policy and procedure this year. Things were absolutely brutal across the board this year. I have to give a notable second place runner-up to the UK's CMA and the regulations going on there. But the real winner of the Showdown of the year was definitely all of the universities and all of the people testing what's going on with the way that we're accrediting and testing colleges and veterinarians and everybody. So we had LMU file their lawsuit, which has just had some statements made on it by the Department of Justice. We had Tuskegee have to file an injunction, and then they pulled it back as they battle for accreditation. We have multiple universities that are on probationary accreditation. We have colleges in the UK losing accreditation, coming back from it. We have a massive amount of stories that circled around the way that the education system happens. Again, additionally, alongside that, we also have the NAVLE and an AI, passing that test in some ways, and then a statement from the licensing body there saying no, they didn't. Then we also have the Latinx VMA saying, hey, the NAVLE is not representative of the people that are taking it. And now they've opened up the opportunity to do an audit on that. So I guess not even just the COE, it's the entirety of the education and accreditation process and the way that we're putting new students through their education and then testing them to bring them into the workforce had to be the showdown of the year. So this was a big one. That's a big one for a lot of things. I know I missed a million things, but honestly, we could do 100 birdies every single year. But these were the ones that I really felt like hit on some of the top things. I know I'm excited for 2026. I've got a super full calendar. There's going to be some incredible things. We're going to continue seeing AI grow in practices. We're going to see some of these AI companies get absorbed and swallowed up by others. I think we'll continue to see the cream rising to the top when it comes to corporate groups and de novo groups, as well as a lot of really incredible things happening. I think we've got an incredible new AVMA president coming in. We've got a ton of great stuff to look forward to. So it's not always going to be a tough one, but this is definitely a fun year that we had and another fun one that we're going to have coming up. This episode of The Bird Bath is brought to you by Pearl AI. Pearl AI is an affordable, always-on AI veterinary solution that combines AI with a team of real, licensed U.S. veterinarians. Get the best of both worlds, the speed of AI and the accuracy of human professionals. With Pearl AI, your clinic can offer real-time 24/7 coverage without hiring extra staff. It also automates screening and triage, lowers your operating costs, and turns more of your site visitors into paying clients. Integrate Pearl through a simple web snippet or API and start growing your practice while you sleep. Learn more at pearl.com/thebirdbath. That's pearl.com/thebirdbath. For more on these and other stories, as well as links to the stories that we talked about in this episode, and maybe even some little fun visuals of what the birdies could look like, join us by subscribing to our Substack. There's a link in the bio, and don't miss out on any episodes by subscribing and rating the show. For The Bird Bath, I'm Ryan Leach. See you next week.